All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It is April 22nd, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Gokenauer.
Here.
Mrs. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Grumney. Absent. Ms. Crawford.
Here.
Mr. Stoneman. Here. Present, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We do have a public hearing this evening. There are two items on the agenda, both related to one another. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing. It's Pulte Homes of Ohio LLC, conditional use. Before we go ahead and get started, I think we do have some formality that we need to take care of, including swearing in anybody who wishes to speak for or against the issue and the admittance of exhibits.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. I'm Vic Whitney, legal counsel to the commission tonight. So as the mayor indicated, we have a conditional use application submitted by Pulte Homes. So as he indicated, we have a stenographer here. This is a public hearing. So anyone that feels like they would want to testify or give information, including the applicant, we're going to ask you in a moment you stand and the stenographer will swear you in. The mayor, when he begins the public hearing portion, will direct anybody who wishes in order to come up to the lectern and speak. When you come up, again, it's being recorded and the stenographer is getting everything down. So speak clearly and slowly into the microphone. The commission members may have questions for you. And if they do, let them ask the question response. We're not over speaking each other. And I think that's it. Oh, state your name and your address at the outset, so we have a clear record of who you are if you do want to speak. So anyone that is going to testify or may give testimony, if you please stand right now and we will allow the stenographer to swear us in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will present will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. And before kicking it back over to you, Mayor, I would move to admit exhibits related to the conditional use application. The first exhibit is marked as Exhibit A. It's an 8-page document, which includes the conditional use application and the related documents that were submitted by the applicant. Exhibit B is a 3-page document, which includes the public notice for the conditional use, as well as the proof of mailing to the affected residents. And Exhibit C is a 2-page document, which is the staff report. And with that, I will turn it back over to the mayor.
All right, thank you. I'd like to invite the applicant up to the podium to provide a little bit of background into the conditional use application.
My name is Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Joe Lamperic and I'm with Pulte Homes, address 475 Metro Place South, Dublin, Ohio 43017.
Would you like to provide any context into the application?
Yes, so Pulte Homes is preparing to open a new community called Eagle Creek on the east side of the city of Sunbury. And within that community, we are asking for permission to have a model home operate as a conditional use office space for selling additional homes within the community.
Thank you. I believe this is on the west side of Sunbury, east side of 3 B's and a K Road.
That is correct. It's north of the new traffic circle that is there.
Right.
On the former Rogers Farm.
Great, thank you. All right. Is there anything staff would like to highlight from the staff report?
Nothing in particular, just they turned in all documents that were required. It looks good as far as I'm concerned, typical model home, conditional use that we look at.
Okay, great. Would anybody from the public like to speak with the commission regarding this conditional use application? All right, I'll open it up to the commission. Any comment from the commission? right, I would like to, I have the authority, sorry, was there something you had?
I was waiting. I was motion.
I have the authority to close the public hearing without a vote. Do I need a vote?
You should take a vote.
All right, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
So,
Second by Ms. Miller. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
yes.
Mr. Gokenhour,
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. Stotterman.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Thank you for being here. All right, we are now on to the commission review conditional use Pulte Homes of Ohio. We just heard the applicant comments and presentation. We have the staff report included in your packet. I'm going to open it up one more time to staff. Anything you would like to add?
No, sir.
All right, commission comments, questions for the applicant?
I just have a couple of questions about the signage and the parking. I went to observe the model home at Price Ponds. And I'm just curious, the parking lot as it's diagrammed here is different. Can you kind of show me, not that you expect it to be full at all times, but I'm a little curious where all 5 spots fit in according to the diagram.
I'm gonna hold up I'm gonna hold up what I had, which was part of the application. Is this the diagram you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay. Possibly it's because the print is not strong enough for you to see, but towards the top of the page above the handicap parking are 5 additional spaces plus the handicap.
It's actually on this exhibit here.
Yeah, I guess I'm just.
1,
I'm
2,
not
3,
seeing-
4, 5.
Those are the 5 spaces.
This is exhibit.
SL1.
So I see the handicap and I see what looks like a couple spaces. So you're saying all 5 of them?
Yeah, there's 4 regular spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the handicap spot.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And then I'm just curious about the signs. Are they similar? It looks like the design is similar, the size. I'm just curious about the placement.
Yes, so this would have been as part of your submittal as well, and this is consistent with the city's requirements and also consistent with Pulte's marketing. So they should be essentially identical.
And that these signs are up year round. So
Correct.
they're all, okay, thank you.
And they are maintained, I mean, as part of our marketing presentation, so they are maintained if for any reason they start to look weathered or are not presenting well, they get replaced.
Wanted to highlight one item, just since we have a couple of new zoning commission members. A conditional use is an application to do something non-standard. So for example, they're running an office out of a single family home. Conditional use as property transfers, that use then falls off. So it's conditional based on the current owner, given the current circumstances. If those change, that approval is nullified. Is that a fair representation? Conditional.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're not in court, sir.
Sorry, it's just old habits die hard. Err on the side of caution.
Any other comments or questions?
On your overall site layout, kind of looks like a landscaping plan. At the front of your parking lot, I notice you have a trash can.
In the application, we actually say that we will not have an exterior trash can and that the trash will be emptied as part of the model cleaning. So I don't know what the requirement is. So if it's required, we'll put it there. If it's not required, we'd rather not have it there just because it's has the potential to be unappealing.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? All right. Regarding the matter at hand, we're looking for a motion. Would anybody like to make a motion on this particular review?
I move to approve the conditional use of Pulte Homes at Eagle Creek.
All right, we've got a motion on the table to approve. Motion by Ms. Miller, second by Ms. Crawford. Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Crawford,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Gokenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Stoddardman.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Appreciate it. We are on to the visitor section, but before Mr. Lamperick leaves, I did have one question. There's a sign in the communities at Sunbury adjacent to the Sunbury Christian Church. It's a marketing sign. I think it even says Price Ponds on it. Pulte. Was that applied for and approved? Near the pond on the, what would be the southwest side of the HOA property.
Closer to the road, correct?
Close to the road, close to the Sunbury
I
Christian Church.
believe so, but I'll double check. That one would have been, I'm pretty certain that was last spring that was applied for and approved, but I'll double check and can send it out.
And even if there's a change in ownership, like now the HOA owns that space, that still applies.
That's a good question. I don't know if it applies for the lot, but I'll do research and I'll get back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lampert.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, we are on the visitor section. Out of the 40 or 50 people here this evening, would you like to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission? It's your last chance. Just joking here. Nobody in the audience tonight. We're looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
We got a motion by Mr. Gokenhour,
Second.
second by Ms. Miller. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Gokenhour,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Stoddardman,
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford. 5 yeas, motion approved.
All right, we're on to the zoning report. Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Not too much happening zoning wise. We did, we had, pardon me. We were going through a little bit of setting up the NCA. So we were holding permits for Eagle Creek. That has since been figured out. NCA is up and we released permits, which is why you'll notice all of the Crown Drives in the permit issued this month. Aside from that, we've had a couple meetings with our partner OpenGov for our permitting software. So still just kind of learning through that. And then we had a total of 20 zoning certificates this month, 15 of which were for new builds. So it brings our yearly total up to 59, which is beating out last year by 9 permits. And then I added on for the new building permits annually, I did add little date markers showing kind of our progression throughout the year so far. So if you see page 5 in the bottom right, and it'll show where we are in January, February, March, and I'll keep that tracking up just as a little note to kind of show growth throughout the year. So I'll add. But any questions?
Getting more and more savvy with Excel and PowerPoint.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Great job, Alex. Any questions or comments for Alex? All right. We're on to discussion and new business. Mr. Gokenhour,
No new business.
Mrs. Miller, Mr. Crawford, Mr. Stoddardman.
Yeah, one suggestion, request, I'm not sure which, maybe both.
Yes, sir.
After the last month's meeting, there's a lot of folks in here. I think a lot of folks had been here for the first time. Not that long ago, I was in one of these meetings for the very first time. And it does seem a little difficult sometimes to know when it's appropriate to speak. I know the mayor had to correct one of the people who came up to speak during that meeting about it's not a dialogue. This is the time for, saying what you wanted to say. But I guess what I'm looking for is, can we create some type of simple instruction sheet? I don't know if that's been requested before. It's at the door. So when people come in and they've got 5 minutes before the meeting, they can kind of see the progression of a typical meeting. Maybe with some arrows and bullet points that say, hey, this is when you would speak and this is how the meeting would normally progress. I noticed a lot of people were sworn in at the beginning of that meeting, but no one actually that was sworn in spoke. I don't know if that was because they changed their mind or they just really didn't know when it was appropriate for them to say what they came to say. But with that many people and that few speakers, it seemed like there might have been some confusion. So I'd be happy to volunteer to assist. I've done things like this before, so I think it would be helpful for people as the fastest growing community in the state. we're gonna have a lot of people coming for the first time. And I think it would be useful, tool for people to, get out of their own way, so to speak, and know, hey, I'm gonna speak at this point in the meeting and not, speak at the wrong time. So I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I like that. We can start working on that.
That's something we could scroll on the TVs. Cause if it's a piece of paper, me personally, I'm gonna walk right past it.
We
But if
could
it's
look-
in my face, I'm forced to read it.
Right. Yeah, we can look into how to do, I don't know how to do that personally, but it's something we can look into and see if we can get implemented on the TVs.
Scroll like before the meeting starts.
Yeah,
or
well,
whatever.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because during the meeting, we'll have the screens up, but we could see even if we could get something scrolling like on the screen with, like during the meeting now, just like kind of ESPN bar style at the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
So I don't know.
You're getting way more advanced.
That's not a bad idea.
If we can, I don't know how to do that, so it'd take learning, but we can try, yeah. And then another update, I sent it out in the email, but we did get agendas up for planning and zoning on the website now as well, so those are up there. Not the best, but all the materials were on there as of last Friday when you guys got your binders too.
on that. Great job. I like what you're saying though, Jason. Yeah, make it simple.
Yeah,
But
one
even if
page.
you're like group the agenda and said, if you're here to speak on this topic, this is when you would do it.
Yeah.
If you're here to speak on this topic, this is when you would do it. The visitor section, like, no holds barred, come up, speak with
Right.
the commission. No holds barred is not a legal term. But you have 3 minutes to discuss. Typically, the planning and zoning commission does not respond, but takes your comments under advisement.
The thing that I noticed is there was 2 topics on the agenda last week, and we went to the first topic, then the second topic, and then you circled back to the first topic for the next section. And I think that we talked about Kintner Crossing and then the gas station, whatever we're calling that one. And then we came back to it as the meeting progressed, and I think there was confusion because, wait a minute, are we done with this? And
Yeah.
it was just a little parliamentary procedure, I guess, was a little, maybe it was just me, but I wasn't really sure the progression of going back and forth.
We had 2 public hearings last meeting, right?
Right.
Yes.
At the beginning, I introed that the topic of a gas station is not on the agenda because I think everybody, 40 people in here that were looking to talk about a gas station. Right. So I guess that was like just my thought. Hey, let's try to make sure everybody knows that if you're going to wait here for an hour and a half, this item is not on the agenda. So I hear you.
If we come up with the language that we can do the scroll, putting it on the website would be great too.
That's what I was thinking too, adding it to the zoning page, just
Yeah.
whatever infographic or page we get here, we could easily put that on the website as
It
well.
would be great if it was a sample meeting, so you would have a meeting that had 2 or 3 items and they could walk through and see what normally happens, rather than, and the agenda is good for knowing what the topics are, but not knowing when it's your turn is the challenge.
Speak on that, yeah. Understood. We can start working on that. I'll reach out to you. We'll
Okay,
talk
super.
about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to help out, so volunteering and suggesting.
Could there be in the anticipated process, visitor comments?
Yeah, we could have that. I mean, that would be an easy solution as well. Although that is, I think when we have a public hearing, public comment is up in that box. Because when we do commission review, we don't typically go back to public for questions, do we? So I'm looking at the agenda here. So public hearing begins, we have the public comment in that section. Do we have it? We won't have it in our commission review section as well. Okay. So I
Not
can
relative to that topic. I mean, that would be part of the public hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I can, next time we do one, I'll make sure, especially if we have a crowd as big as we did, I can point that out on the agenda too, or even put it in, once I upload it online, put a secondary document under that in the agenda, kind of going over exactly when to speak. Or maybe it's just something we add on the agenda going forward is that 1-sheet document and then have some available here, just so there's no confusion and it's available no matter where you get the agenda at.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, I did have one item. This is not new business, but I would call it ongoing business. This is related to I'll call it the gas station, but really it's the State Route 3 BSTP developer that had brought forward an informal presentation in February's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I think we were all in attendance for that particular meeting, and as we do with any particular informal presentation, you know, we're trying to hear what the developer is trying to do. You're asking questions. I remember there being a lot of questions about, you know, access and buffering and uses. And we didn't get too much into gas station, but I since then have done quite a bit of research on this topic. First of all, I couldn't find any, generally local, you know, Delaware, Westerville, New Albany, Johnstown, developments where you had a gas station within like 150 foot of a single family residential home, you know, built in the last few years. I mean, a new neighborhood. Now there's infill development. There's also areas around like Morse Road and 161 where this exists. But I mean, I tried to like go out and see where there were relevant cases afterwards. I don't know about the zoning commission, but I know city council and Alex and our city administrator are getting inundated with angry resident emails. Some are directed at the developer, some are directed at city council. Again, back to just the general understanding of like where we are in the process. This was an informal presentation for a rezoning for, you know, single tenant planned commercial district. And this is standard practice that if somebody's pitching something to the Planning and Zoning Commission, they come in without filing a formal application. It's a way to vet, you know, what the commission's appetite is for it. They also, the developer specifically said like a next step would be to go out to the community and receive feedback. Before, I think they could meet with the community, and they recently met with at least a subset of the community. I think HOA representatives from 4 or 5 adjacent neighborhoods. They were getting inundated with feedback related to gas stations, everything from, you know, do you want to give our children cancer to exhaust fumes, 24-hour operations, lighting, noise, every single thing that like we as commission members try to take under advisement and consideration. And I've also responded specifically to residents like, hey, I want to let you know upon like my own due diligence, I personally, as one vote on the Planning and Zoning Commission member and as the mayor, do not support a gas station at this location. Like I've been on record responding to residents stating that. I don't think I've gotten an email back once I've said that. That doesn't mean I've satisfied the public. Okay, and this is my own opinion, and these are unrehearsed comments, but I need to give you like my lens, especially for our new commission members, how I approach Planning and Zoning Commission informal presentations or rezoning applications. And that is, and I've got kind of 2 sources of truth. One is the zoning code that they're applying for. The other one is the master plan. And then I have like my own experience, which I would tell all of you to like bring that to the table as well, relevant experience. So after the meeting, I went back and took a look at our zoning code, and right in this purpose statement of planned commercial district, it says, bear with me because the last line is the punchline here. The municipality, recognizing that with increased urbanization and population growth comes increased demands for well-organized commercial areas to provide employment, goods and services to area residents, as well as provide a balanced economy within the municipality, thereby provides for the planned commercial district, intending to hereby promote the variety of flexibility of land development for commercial purposes that are necessary to meet these demands, while still preserving and enhancing the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the municipality. So that right there in the purpose statement, it's talking about kind of this harmony between, yes, we know there's going to be growth, but it also needs to, you know, preserve and enhance the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the municipality. And in this case, like my own opinion is, you know, who's most impacted by this? It's the folks that live in that neighborhood or across the street or even the church. You know, the adjacent uses are the ones that you like instantly go to, like how does it impact them? The other thing I want to mention, the reason this developer is here in the first place is they purchased the property, I think in 2021. At that point, the property, I believe, had been rezoned, but all of our zoning code states the effect and approval of a rezoning or a zoning district. The development plan as approved by the Sunbury Council shall constitute an amendment to the zoning ordinance as it applies to the lands included in the approved amendment. The approval shall be for a period of 3 years. to allow the preparation of plats required by the subdivision regulations of Sunbury, Ohio. So the reason they're starting from scratch is because they do not have an approved plan. They do not have an approved, again, I haven't ran this by anybody, but I'm going to say they don't have an approved zoning right now. It may show on a map that it's planned commercial district, but for all intents and purposes, they're starting from scratch. It was farm field before. I think as part of the communities of Sunbury development, we brought it in with like a PRD, planned residence district, and brought in this small piece as planned commercial district. The linchpin for me though, is the criteria for approval. And again, this is tailored towards our newer commission members, but also this should be information for the public. Criteria for approval. In approving an application for a planned commercial district, the reviewing authorities shall determine these three things. One, if the proposed development is consistent in all respects with the purpose, intent, and applicable standards of the zoning ordinance. That's number one. Back to the purpose, while still preserving and enhancing the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the municipality. Number two, if the proposed development is in conformity with the comprehensive plan or portion thereof as it may apply. This is where it can get gray. I mean, the master plan is what it is. It's a guide. It is not the law. There are guiding principles. There are visionary statements. There are talks about density and setbacks and the character of your community. But the zoning code is like pointing you to the comprehensive plan, saying reference this. And third, if the proposed development advances the general welfare of the city and the immediate vicinity. So those, I mean, that's pretty specific. And that's in virtually all of our zoning codes, our planned residents or planned districts. And that is just to say, like, don't just focus on the words of what's being said here, but like take one, iteration out, like move one order of magnitude out from the site. Two, how does this work together? And, if you point to the the master plan, there's several things in here that I pulled out because there's no master plans very rarely say specifically this site in the future is going to be this. We do have a few instances of that, but it rarely does. But there is some guidance on here related to this particular parcel. Number one, with commercial development, consider mixed uses of commercial and residential as part of large-scale planned unit development that creates a sense of community. Those are words, they're soft words, sense of community, but I haven't necessarily felt the love or the sense of community from the emails that I'm getting. So I'm picking up on what they're putting down is what I'm trying to say. And that was on page 95. On page 101, provide for dense landscape buffering between commercial, industrial, and residential uses. Create a development guidelines for commercial development. I mean, these are broadly associated with this. And I ran a search on our comprehensive plan for commercial. There were 95 times the word was said. I think over half of those were actually in tax card data, like percentage commercial. So in other words, like subjectively, like written into the master plan, it was about 40 or 50 times. But I'm just highlighting some of the ones that I think are applicable. On page 102, use the comprehensive plan as a guideline in zoning. Okay. And last, on this particular tract of land, on page 106 and 107, 106, this is related to, I'll say, the entire communities of Sunbury site, including the planned commercial. And there were all types of things in here that did not get implemented. I'll just say straight. Like one said garages should be at the rear of the house. So there's going to be access roads behind the house. We did not do that, nor did Pulte propose that. This is a guide. So we took into that. I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Joe was on the Planning and Zoning Commission when this neighborhood was approved. And you take into consideration what the master plan says, but also in light of what the current situation is. Like, the development trend at that time was not put all the houses in the back. Like it would have been a version of Evans Farm-ish. The one thing it does say on the commercial lots specifically is commercial outlots or small neighborhood center is encouraged along State Route 3 frontage north of the entrance road. Both establish single loaded access road behind 300 to 400-foot deep outlots. Commercial buildings must be designed with four-sided architectural detail with all sides attractive and landscape to buffer the abutting residential neighborhood. That's all it says specifically. But that should be like something we should come for, like, if they come forward with anything, have that in our mind. Also, does this promote, the advancement and general welfare of the community and the area immediately adjacent to this? So that's my 2 cents, or how I approach things as a planning and zoning commission member. Code, master plan, obviously resident feedback, obviously developer feedback, guidance from staff. And since that meeting and we started getting the overwhelming resistance, and then my position was, yeah, residents are right. A gas station does not belong here. My personal opinion, I'm not telling you what to think as commission members, but that's when I told staff, like, we need to start telling the developer, like, a gas station is not going to work. Like, me as the chair, me as the mayor, like, I will back the residents on this, and just because it's the right thing. And I don't get swayed by people yelling at me or telling me that they're going to vote me out of office. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. It's when they're saying that I'm doing nothing. That's an absolute lie. I work on this every single day, all day, and I make about $1.75 an hour at the rate I work. So I do care. I know you care. You wouldn't be here. You're volunteering. It's a beautiful night. Sorry I kept you over, but I thought it was important to get a statement to the public on this topic. It's unfortunate that we don't have anybody from the public here to witness it, but it is on record and we will broadcast it, and I'll share it on Facebook, the preferred source of truth. Thank you. That said, we do have a meeting on May 20th, 2024. I will not be in attendance.
I won't be in attendance.
You won't be in attendance.
Okay, then we will not. I don't think we'll have enough people then.
So is John gone too?
Are you going to, John?
No, that's Joe. Is John?
Is who? Deborah, did you email me that you were going?
Yes.
Okay, then it was you two. So I need to confirm with John.
Okay.
Because I have not heard back from him yet. And are you guys all good for May 20th? Okay. Good. Joe, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as Sean's good, we're good.
All
And
right.
then do we want to set a tentative backup date in case? Or we want to just take that when we get to it?
Can't be the following Monday. That's Memorial Day, right?
Yes, no, that's why we moved it in the first place. I was thinking following Tuesday. So the day after the normal scheduled meeting, if it doesn't go well on the 20th.
Okay. Yeah, let's pencil it in.
I can do the 28th.
Okay.
I can do the 28th as well.
I can do the 28th. Should be able to.
Can't do anything for the 20th.
Should we just change it to the 28th? Or more attended?
I'm fine with it.
We'll book for the 28th. I'll send out 28th just on everything for right now.
Sounds good.
Easy enough.
I appreciate it. All right, I believe that's all we have for action tonight, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Miller. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Glover,
Yes.
Mr. Stotterman,
Yes.
Mr. Governor.
Yes.
5 yeas, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Your question.